Okay, so I had another dream last night that was very detailed. And it's like one of those dreams that literally makes you question life or something. Like, I can still feel what I felt in the dream in my chest, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like I just met my soulmate or something. Like, this dream is such a good story. Like, it's wild. Like, I think it'd be a really cute kind of like side clip story or something. Anyway, okay, so I'm in my room and I'm getting ready for bed. And so I lay down, and it's a completely different house. Like, it's like I'm like on the 5th floor of a building or something. And I'm laying down, and my body goes to sleep. And then, like, I feel myself get up out of bed, like, sit up in the bed, and I see someone standing at the window. But for some reason, like, I'm not afraid of it. Like, as I'm dreaming, I can hear my voice narrate the dream, and then in other parts, it's a man's voice narrating my dream. I don't know. So I sit up and I see someone just floating at the window. And I'm not scared, I'm just staring at it. And so I get up and I walk towards the window. See this really cute guy, right? Really cute guy. He's like, "Can I come in?" And I'm like, "Okay." He floats through the window. Like, I thought I had to open the window. For a minute, I'm like, is this like a weird vampire dream? But he floats through the window. And for a second, I'm like, oh, okay. What the fuck just happened? And so I'm like, oh my God, am I dead? And he turns me around and he's like, no, you're not dead. You're sleeping. You're not dreaming either. You're entering another dimension, right? Like, it feels like a dream, but you're not dreaming. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, it took me a while to understand this and try to understand that I wasn't dreaming. I was lost for a while, kind of just randomly floating around until I saw you in your window. And for some reason, I was drawn to you. Don't know why, and I know that sounds creepy, but here we are. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm not freaked out by it. I'm not uncomfortable by it. He, like, goes like this. And so I take his hand and we levitate off the floor and gently float out the window. And I'm a little panicky. Like, I guess my brain is trying to understand, like, I'm not in my body, so I'm not gonna fall and, like, break my bones or something. Like, my brain is trying to understand that we are an entity floating, right? so so we float out the window and we go a couple of stories up, and we're just kind of hovering the city, flying above the city. And it's only a couple of seconds, but it's fucking amazing. We reached this park. It's real dark outside, so there's no lights. We go in the middle of the park where there's no trees. Like, the trees are all around the park, and then in the middle it's empty. And we just kind of lay down on the grass, and the stars are amazing. And we kind of just lay there, and I'm guessing we talk and start to get to know each other, and then the dream kind of skips and I'm back in my bed, and I wake up again, and I see him and he's waiting for me. So I take his hand, and we go out like on another trip. This time we're just like kind of floating in the clouds. Like, we're just floating around, and for like a good, almost like, I don't know, what felt like 10 minutes to me in my dream, it was just constant repeating. It would skip. I'm in my bed, wake up, we go do something else together. And after like 7 times of that, just kind of like really quick going through, we're like eating, or we're sitting on a bench and we're talking, and or like we're dancing in a crowd because there's like a festival going on. It's always something happening. And the last one, like this ball that we had to go to, because it was like a one time of year kind of thing where all of the other entities or spirits or whatever can connect through this dimension, and they celebrate. Kind of like a Hotel Transylvania, where they go to the hotel and all the kind of monsters all together and they're partying. It's kind of like that, but it was like different species of beings. He comes, I wake up, right? I'm in my bed. I wake up. And as we're going, like getting ready or whatever, I hear the male's voice narrating, and it says, and 1 year later, they finally get to be together for more than one night. They've been seeing each other every night for a year, right? And as I'm hearing him narrate this, I see the guy in the tux, right? Nice red, black, and white tux. Got his hair brushed back in a nice ponytail. And for some reason, I look in like the window instead of a mirror. I look in the window, and I'm wearing a pink dress. And I turn around, I'm like, do I look like a girl that's gonna wear a pink dress? He smiles at me, and he taps my shoulder, and it turns into like a blood red. And then it had like I don't know, one of those really thick scarves that is just for this. Like it's the fur that goes across here, and on the inside was the blood red that matched the dress. And I turn around and I'm like, yeah, that's it right there. And so he comes behind me, and he puts his hands under my hands like this, and he's behind me, and we float forward out the window, right? We're floating forward out the window, and we're flying like that, like through the sky. We get to the hotel, and it's nice as shit. It is so fucking nice. It's like marble and gold everywhere. Beautiful freaking place. And I didn't get to experience the ball itself because it came within like glimpses. So like once we got there, we were walking through like the entry of the hotel, and that's when I started seeing like the other kind of humanoid species, right? And I asked him, I'm like, what are they like? And he's like, they're just from other dimensions. This is the one time a year we can all kind of, if you can tap into that, higher frequency, we get to all come and kind of celebrate together. I don't know the date. The date of this one time a year never came up, which sucks. I would have loved that. That would have been pretty cool. But so then like it skips, and it's a glimpse of everyone on the dance floor. Like everyone's like waltzing or whatever on the dance floor. And then it skips again, and he's like, spinning me. It skips again, and we're like dipping. And then it like skips again, and we're slow dancing. And everything went into like, everything almost stops but doesn't. Extra slow mo this part where we're slow dancing. And the feeling of him holding me and being in the moment of that was just amazing. Like, it was like our heartbeats was beating at the exact same time. And I wish I can remember like what music was playing. I'm guessing it's just like basic kind of ballroom Cinderella type shit that was playing, but it just sounded a little different from, I guess, what we're used to here on Earth, right? Because, you know, it's so hard to explain. So yeah, we're in like this, it's like we can feel how everyone was feeling in the room, because we were feeling that for each other, and then the couple next to us was feeling that, and then the other couples and other, like, everyone was feeling that I'm in love feeling, and having everyone vibration just all at once. It was just like, it like blew my mind. Like, it just blew my fucking mind. So then it skips, and we're in our hotel room. Things happen. I'm not gonna go into detail with that, but you know, we have an intimate night together. It wasn't, again, it was just like kind of glimpses of just like kissing, skipped, clothes are off, skip, intertwine, skip, and then at the end, like when we're waking up, we're kind of just staring at each other in, you know, just laying in the bed. And I realized the sun is coming from the window, and I didn't think nothing of it. Like, I didn't think anything of it. And for some reason, the moment that we were just kind of laying in bed staring at each other, I guess lasted 10 times longer, because the moment that it skipped and I woke up in my dream, like, my family was in a panic. Everyone was scared, and I was in the hospital. I woke up in the hospital bed, and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, what happened? And they're like, you've been in a coma for 3 days. And I'm like, what? I've been in a fucking coma. They're like, yeah, you've been in a coma for 3 days exactly. And no one knew how. There was literally no explanation. You're healthy, your brain was, you know, functional, and everything was okay. You were literally just asleep and nothing could wake you up. So for a second, I'm just kind of staring at my hands in the hospital bed. It skips, and I'm in a therapy room. And this woman, she's asking me questions, and I'm not listening. I'm just kind of observing the room. Like, I'm looking out the window, and it's just in a building. And I'm like, why am I here? And she's like, it's been 2 weeks, and you still asking that question. And I'm like, what? And she like explains that for the past 2 weeks since I left the hospital, I wouldn't stop talking about my soulmate, right? But I'm like, okay. And so as she's like talking, explaining to me what's been going on, I'm flashbacking every moment I had with him. Like the flying and I'm like, oh my God, he's not real? And she's like, good, you're finally saying that, you're admitting, because you've been saying he is real past 2 weeks, and we've been trying to tell you that no, it was just a dream, you were in a coma. And I'm like, no, but that's just it, I wasn't dreaming, I was in another dimension. He is real. And she's like, have you met him in person? And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, because just because I didn't meet him here in this physical realm doesn't mean I didn't meet him. And she's like, and we're back to the start again. And I'm like, well, bitch, fuck you and your therapy, whatever. And so she asks me, explain everything. So I'm guessing I'm skipping. Another couple flashes go by, and I'm like explaining to her every experience I had with this man. And she's like, do you know specifically what he looks like? And I'm like, yes. I pull out a book, and it's a sketchbook of nothing but him and his face and his body, his stature, and like the last page has an image of us two in like him in the tux and me in the red dress, and it's us in the middle of the dance floor with like they're kind of blurry, but it's the people around, right? This is the last time you saw him. And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, this is the night that you fell asleep, and this is when you didn't wake up since then. And I'm like, yeah. And so I tell her what happened, what I experienced, right? She's writing everything down. And then, like, it skips. And again, the narrator explains to me, like, I hear it in my head. It's been 3 months since you've been doing therapy, and you're slowly starting to understand that maybe it was just a dream. And it like flashbacks to like I guess the last session between me and the therapist, and she explains to me how dreams can fuck people up, and this is why she got into this kind of field, because when she was younger she would have dreams or nightmares of something attacking her, and when she would wake up she'd have a mark from it. And you know, as she's younger and she's trying to explain to her parents, you know, this is happening to me, and she's believing that, you know, there's a creature after me, it's real, it's real. They set up a camera and it's her just moving in her sleep, kind of like pinching her body or something. I don't know, some weird shit like that. And that's when she realized that it was just a dream. You know, there was nothing there. And so that's what she was trying to explain to all of her patients when they something that snaps in their brain and they can't get over because they swear that it happened, but it didn't. So it skips again, and I'm in a park and I'm sitting on a bench, and the only way I can get it out of my head is drawing it down. So this one, I was just sketching like a portrait from like the shoulder up, and I'm sketching every detail of his face. Again, the narrator goes, it's the middle of October, it's cold and breezy, you hear the leaves crossing the, you know, pavement or whatever, and there's like a Halloween festival going on, and there's groups of people moving about and all that other fucking shit, right? And I hear his voice. I don't remember what he said. I think he was talking to someone. I hear his voice, and I stop and I stare at the sketch, and I'm like, no. The doctor said this wasn't real. It's your mind fucking with you again. So I go back to sketching, and I'm sketching, and I hear him laugh. And so I close the sketchbook, put it in my bag, and I look around, and I can hear him laughing. I hear his laugh, and I hear his laugh, and I'm like, this can't be fucking happening. This can't be happening. So I get up and I start walking through the crowd. And for some reason, every group had like either 4 or 5 people in each group. But like my dream kept everyone in 4 and 5. Like everyone was in a group of 4 and 5. Don't know why. So I'm trying to like walk around without looking crazy. So I'm walking through the crowd, and I don't hear him anymore, and I'm just looking, and all I keep thinking of is that moment on the dance floor, like us just being in that moment, and that is like in the back of my head as I'm looking through the crowd, and it's about like 5 minutes, but it feels like a fucking hour, you know, just kind of looking around, and this park, there's like, I guess, a river that divides, like, I guess the cities or the town or some shit like that, because there's a bridge that goes over, and like that's just one of the smaller ways to get to the other side of the town, because that park is like one, but there's like a split in the middle, right? Whatever. So, you know, the festival is going on the entire park, you know, it's on both sides. I give up, and I'm on the bridge, and there's no more narrating. Like, it's just me, and I'm looking in the water, and I'm feeling just like defeated and trying to understand what the therapist was telling me and compare it to how I'm feeling. And I just stare at my image in the water. And the wind starts to pick up. Now my hair is like doing all this. Like, it's fucking wild. And so I'm trying to, like, I'm doing this and I'm brushing my hair. And then I'm like covering my face. And then I hear a voice. "Excuse me, miss, are you okay?" I shit myself. I'm like, what? I turn around and we stare at each other. I don't know how long it was. It felt like forever. Like, we were just staring at each other. And he's like, "Hi." And I'm like, "Hi?" And he's like, "I'm such and such." And I'm like, I grab his hand and we shake, and I'm like, I said a completely different name. I didn't say my name, which was weird. I said something else. And we both at the same time was like, "Have we met?" And I'm like, we both said it at the same time. And then we laughed. And then he's like, pulls out his hand like this. He's like, "Do you want to join me?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I grab his hand and we walk off. And that was the end of it. Like, that was the end of the dream. And I can still feel that feeling of, like, where have you been my whole life? Like, where are you? What is this? Like, now, granted, the guy in the dream is from someone I've been watching on a show. And I think the guy is kind of cute. The feeling behind it, it's that feeling of, really? Like, is this ever going to happen? Like, in reality, that kind of feeling of when you meet someone and it just feels like, finally. Like, it's just a breath of, like, finally. Yeah, that dream was very, very intense. Comment down below if you've ever had dreams that kind of stuck with you throughout the day, like, as you're going about your day into, like, the next day, like, you just can't get that dream out of your head, I've had a couple. Anyway.